Hello Volvo Penta owners, Chris here. Do you have water dripping from the witness holes here behind your impeller or pouring out of it? If so, this could save you a bit of time and effort and money. So a bit of a backstory, I've removed the pump from the engine. I didn't actually have to do that, but it kind of works out well for this video. So basically what you have is you've got a couple of bearings there, one seal on this side for the seawater, so it's an oil, like a lip seal for the seawater to stop the water from going out through past the shaft and through. So if it's sealed, then the water doesn't drip out of here, but if the seal fails, it does. On the other side, you've got the same seal for the oil. So the oil from the engine here, this is all kind of bathed in oil when it's running. The bearings and everything are all lovely, sitting happy in oil, and the seal as well. So the oil seal is much less likely to fail. The one that lives in the horrible water fails much more quickly, which has happened here. There's also a plastic spacer in there, which kind of, if the water gets past, it throws the water off out of the witness holes. But it's also useful for this video. You can buy rebuild kits for these pumps. So you can rebuild the whole thing for about 60 quid, so $80, something like that. So it's not the end of the world, but if you're wanting to get things done quickly and you don't want to faff around with bearing pullers and stuff, if it's just a water leak you've got, then all you really need to do is replace this water seal. So to do this, all you need to do is remove the cover, 4 screws, remove the cover, pull out the impeller. Then there's a single screw here to remove because that holds in place the pump cam, which is just a little semicircular piece of metal that lives in there. Once you remove that screw, that should come off, although it's probably, if it was anything like mine, you'll have to give it a bit of a knock to get it off because it's stuck on there with crud. And then at the back you've got a washer that lives at the back of this housing, so you can't see the seals initially. All I did for that was got a little piece of wire with a bend on the end, stuck it in the hole and pulled it, and it came out easy enough. Then you can get at your seal. So this is our little bad boy that we need to replace. And thanks to a video from a channel called Yacht Bubble, he managed to replace this seal with the pump still on the engine. He used a bit of a hook, a wire or a circlip or something, but I've found that you can actually do it with a screwdriver. So if you imagine you get this problem on your boat, you don't need to take the pump off your boat. All you need to do is get a flat bladed screwdriver, put it up here where the plastic spacer is, and then just rotate it. And by rotating your screwdriver, that pushes that spacer that way. And that pushes out the lip seal. Then we can grab hold of this, pull it out, get the part numbers off it, buy a new one, be a couple of quid, replace it, and that'll be it. That's the job done. Just got the seal cleaned up there a little bit. The only identification numbers on this one are CROM, Charlie Romeo Oscar Mike 5. So that's not very helpful. However, as per Yacht Bubble's video, this should be a 12mm internal diameter, 24mm external diameter and 7mm thickness for this seal. So there are other brands out there. I've just had a quick look online. You can buy these for a couple of quid. So you don't have to get them from Volvo Penta. They don't make them. They just buy them in and rebrand them and sell them at a higher price. So you can just go straight to a stockist and buy them from them at non-marine prices. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find one of these locally, either here in the local area where the boat is, or get one delivered. And I'll get a few while I'm at it, so I've got a couple of spares as well. Quick update from Chris from the future. I haven't actually replaced that seal yet. I will do. I'll buy new ones and I will replace it. But in the meantime, what I did to cure what was a fairly significant leak was I used something which I've told you about years ago. One of our first ever videos was about a DIY O-ring kit. It's a tiny little box, and in there it's got different thicknesses of O-rings, of just like a long section, and you create the O-ring that you need for whatever application. You cut it to size, you glue it together, it creates a really good O-ring. Some people thought that was a ridiculous idea and laughed at me, but just bear in mind that I used to work on helicopters, and I once had to create a seal for a pressure gauge out of an earplug because we were in the desert, we didn't have access to spares, and we needed to get nitrogen into an undercarriage, and that was the only way we could do it, so I had to improvise, and a porous earplug, when compressed, is no longer porous and did that job perfectly. So I'm used to kind of making do. And these O-ring kits, they're very easy to stow on your boat, take up hardly any room, you know where they are, and then instead of having to carry an entire box of all different sized O-rings and just hoping that you've got the right one, you just make the one that you need to your specs. So yeah, I created a little O-ring, and it was the right size to just go into the gap around the lip seal to kind of force the inner section against the shaft. When the kind of little back plate washer thing was in place, that compressed the O-ring, which compressed the seal. With a little bit of silicone grease in there, it's perfect, no drips whatsoever. So for now that'll do, and then when I've got the parts I will replace it properly. Okay, back to the past. So I just want to read a couple of comments from this channel, from Yacht Bubble's video. It's funny, I love YouTube comments, they crack me up. One of them is, I just did the replacement according to your method and probably saved myself a 4-figure sum. I'm not going to read the name of the company, but company name, wanted to remove the engine to fix the problem. Everything now working fine. So they wanted to remove the engine to, what, for a £3 seal? And then there's another comment here that cracks me up as well, talking about seals and failures and fixing all the rest of it. And Yacht Bubble replied, "Thanks, Dirk. Really appreciate your kind words. We must all hope that our rear seals never fail." I don't know if that's intentional double entendre or not, but I found it very funny. So there you go, quick fix. I hope this helps somebody. And thanks for watching. Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Fair winds. Ciao, ciao. Bye, bye.